I didn't pack your things right away. For a long time, I pretended they weren't there. Your sweater stayed draped over the chair like you'd be back for it. Your mug stayed in the cabinet, slightly chipped, exactly where you left it. Your toothbrush stayed by the sink long after it should have been thrown away. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I just needed more time. But the truth was simpler and harder to admit. If I didn't touch your things, I didn't have to accept that you were really gone. Your absence had weight, but your belongings had gravity. They kept pulling me back. Every object was a doorway. Every doorway led to a memory, and I wasn't ready to walk through them all. People think healing begins with letting go, but for me, healing began with avoidance. I learned how to move around my own home without seeing you. I learned which drawer not to open, which corner of the closet to ignore, which songs not to play while I cleaned. I lived like a guest in my own space, careful not to disturb the past. And somehow, that felt safer than facing it. Because if I opened the box, if I touched the proof, I was afraid I would fall apart in a way I couldn't put back together. The day I finally decided to pack your things wasn't dramatic. There was no sudden burst of strength. No speech to myself in the mirror. It was just a quiet afternoon. The kind where the light feels soft and tired, like it's been holding the world all day and is ready to rest. I was sitting on the floor, sorting laundry, when I found one of your shirts mixed in with mine. It was faded, soft, worn in the way clothes get when they've been loved. I held it up without thinking, and something broke. Not loudly. Not violently, just enough to make tears fall before I could stop them. Because that shirt didn't smell like you anymore. Not really. Whatever trace was left was faint, like a memory losing its edges. And that scared me more than the pain ever had. Because pain meant you were still close. Fading meant time was doing its job. And I wasn't sure I was ready for that. I sat there on the floor, holding your shirt, crying quietly, like I didn't want to wake anyone, even though I was alone. And I realized something important. I wasn't just holding fabric. I was holding a version of my life that no longer existed. So I went to the closet. At the very top, pushed all the way back, was a cardboard box I'd been pretending not to see. It wasn't special. Just an old moving box with one corner crushed in. I pulled it down and set it beside me. I stared at it for a long time. My hands rested on the flaps, but I didn't open them yet. Because opening the box meant starting something. I couldn't pause halfway. Packing isn't like crying. You can stop crying and pretend you're fine. Packing is deliberate. It's decision after decision. And each decision says the same thing in a different way. This chapter is ending. I took a breath, then another, and I opened the box. Started with the easy things. The things that didn't feel personal. A charger. A notebook you never finished. A pair of socks that somehow ended up in my drawer. I folded them carefully, even though I knew it didn't matter how neat they were. Habit dies hard. Love teaches you to take care of things, even when the person is gone. As I packed, memories kept rising uninvited, relentless. The charger reminded me of nights we sat on opposite ends of the couch, phones plugged in, pretending we weren't tired. The notebook reminded me of the way you used to talk, about plans you never quite followed through on. The socks reminded me of mornings when you were always running late, and somehow still calm, like time bent for you. I paused often, not because I was tired, because each object asked something of me. Do you want to keep this? Do you want to remember this? Do you want to let this go? Some things went into the box. Some things stayed out, not because they mattered more, because I wasn't ready yet. Then I reached the harder things, the sweater you always wore when it was cold. I picked it up and pressed it to my chest without thinking that was muscle memory. My body remembered before my mind did. I closed my eyes, and suddenly, I wasn't in my bedroom anymore. I was back in that moment. The night it rained unexpectedly. The way you wrapped the sweater around me. Instead of yourself. The way you said, "I'm fine," even though I knew you were cold. That memory hit me so hard my knees buckled. I sat back on the floor, sweater in my lap, and cried the kind of cry that doesn't ask for relief. Not the kind that just needs space. I cried because I missed you, but not the version of you that left. I missed the version of you that noticed, the version that gave, without keeping score, the version that felt like home, held the sweater until my breathing slowed dot, then dashed very gently. I folded it. I placed it in the box, and that felt like betrayal. Because folding it away felt like admitting you weren't coming back to wear it dot. Next came the small things. Movie ticket tucked inside a book. I had forgotten about that one dot. My throat tightened. Remembered the night clearly, how we sat too close. How you whispered commentary like it was our own private language. How afterward you said, "I like nights like this." I had believed that meant forever. I ran my thumb over the date printed on the ticket. Then I placed it in the box dot. Not because I didn't care. Because I did. And caring didn't mean keeping everything forever. Somewhere in the middle of the packing, I noticed something strange. The pain wasn't getting worse dot, it was changing dot, it was becoming softer dot, still deep dot, still real. But less sharp dot, like grief was learning how to sit beside me instead of on top of me. That surprised me. I had expected packing to destroy me dot, instead. It was teaching me something. I wasn't erasing you. I was organizing my love, giving it a place to rest. Then, I found the last thing. The thing I had been avoiding completely. The thing I knew would end me. A photograph dot, just one. Not framed. Not displayed. Tucked inside. An envelope like it was hiding. I pulled it out slowly. There we were. You had your arm around me. I was smiling the way people smile when they feel safe, dot, really safe. Stared at that photo for a long time. Long enough that my hands started to shake dot. Because the people in that photo didn't know what was coming. They didn't know about the quiet distance. They didn't know about the nights I cried alone. They didn't know this ending. They still believed in us dot, and I felt such a deep tenderness for that version of myself that it hurt. I whispered, "You didn't know." And somehow, that made everything gentler. I kissed the photo dot once. Dot, not dramatically dot, just a small goodbye. And I placed it in the box. I closed the flaps slowly, not slamming them, not rushing. I taped the box shut and wrote your name on the side. That was important to me. Because this wasn't trash dot, this was a history dot, and histories deserve respect. I carried the box into the closet and placed it on the top shelf. Then I stood there dot, hands still resting on it dot, heart heavy. And I realized this wasn't the end of missing you. It was the beginning of remembering you differently. That night, the apartment felt different. Not empty dot, honest dot. There was no sweater on the chair dot, no extra mug in the cabinet dot, no quiet reminders waiting to ambush me. And the silence didn't feel as cruel as I expected. It felt tender, like the room was giving me space. Lay in bed and listened to my own breathing. Just mine. And for the first time in a long time, it didn't feel wrong dot, it felt sad. But clean. Over the next few days, I noticed small changes. I stopped reaching for you in moments of reflex. I stopped glancing toward the door like you might walk in. I stopped narrating my life in my head, as if you were listening somewhere dot. And when I thought about you, it wasn't always sharp. Sometimes it was warm dot. Sometimes it was grateful. Sometimes it was quiet. That's when I understood something important. Letting go doesn't mean you stop loving Dot. It means you stop bleeding every time you remember. One evening, I opened the closet to grab something else. My eyes went to the box automatically. For a moment, my chest tightened. Then it relaxed. Because the box wasn't calling to me anymore. It was just there. Like a book on a shelf you've already read. Still meaningful. No longer demanding. I thought about everything I had packed away. And then I thought about what I hadn't. The way you taught me how to love deeply. The way you showed me what safety once felt like. The way you helped shape the person I became. Those things couldn't be boxed. They lived in me. They still do. That night, I cried again. But it was different. Not the kind of crying that begs for someone back. The kind that says goodbye with gratitude and grief in the same breath. If you're listening to this and you haven't packed their things yet, if you're still sleeping beside reminders because letting go feels like erasing, please hear this. Packing doesn't mean forgetting. It means honoring what was without letting it keep hurting you. You don't have to rush. Don't have to be brave. You just have to be honest with yourself. One object at a time. One memory at a time. One breath at a time. Because one day you'll close a box and realize your heart is still open. And that's how you know you're healing. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because the hurt no longer owns you.